Have you ever felt trapped, pinned down by your circumstances with nowhere to turn? Imagine an entire nation feeling that way. That's exactly where the Israelites found themselves. And what happened next is one of the most incredible stories ever told. After centuries of brutal slavery in Egypt, the Israelites were finally free. Pharaoh had let them go after God, sent 10 devastating plagues, led by Moses. Millions of people, men, women, and children set out on a journey to a new life, a promised land. But their celebration was short-lived. Pharaoh's heart hardened once again. He looked at his empire, now without its massive workforce, and was filled with regret and rage. "What have we done?" he roared. "We have let the Israelites go from serving us." He wasted no time. He summoned his army, the most feared military machine of the ancient world. 600 of his best chariots, along with all the other chariots of Egypt, thundered across the desert in pursuit. Meanwhile, the Israelites had reached the edge of the Red Sea. They were a joyful, noisy, hopeful crowd. Then a lookout spotted a cloud of dust on the horizon. It grew larger and larger. The ground began to tremble. Soon they could see the glint of sun on bronze helmets, the terrifying sight of thousands of Egyptian soldiers bearing down on them. Panic ripped through the camp. In front of them was a massive, uncrossable sea. Behind them, the deadliest army on earth was closing in fast. They were trapped. The people cried out to Moses, their fear turning to anger. "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die?" They yelled. "It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness." It's a feeling we can all understand, right? That moment when the walls are closing in and faith seems to evaporate. But Moses, standing firm amidst the chaos, had a message for them, a message that echoes through the ages. He told the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Imagine the courage it took to say that, to tell a terrified nation to just be still, while an army is about to crush them. But Moses wasn't relying on his own strength. He was relying on God's promise. Then the Lord spoke to Moses. "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground." As Moses obeyed, something miraculous began to happen. The pillar of cloud that had been guiding the Israelites by day moved from in front of them to behind them. It stood between the army of Egypt and the camp of Israel, shrouding the Egyptians in darkness while giving light to the Israelites all night long. The two armies were kept apart, separated by a divine barrier. Then Moses stretched his hand out over the Red Sea. All through that night, the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind. The water began to churn and pull apart. It wasn't just a low tide. The Bible says the waters were divided. A pathway of dry land appeared right through the middle of the sea, with a wall of water on their right and a wall of water on their left. Can you even picture that? Walking on a dry seabed, with towering walls of water held back on either side. It must have been both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The Israelites, their fear turning to astonishment, walked through the sea to the other side. An entire nation, millions of them, crossing on dry ground. When the Egyptian army saw this, they didn't hesitate. Blinded by their arrogance, Pharaoh and his commanders thought, "If they can do it, so can we." They charged into the seabed path in hot pursuit, chariots, horsemen, and the entire army. But their powerful war machine was no match for the seabed. The Lord jammed the wheels of their chariots, making them difficult to drive. Confusion and terror spread among the Egyptian soldiers. "Let's get away from the Israelites!" they shouted. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. Once the last Israelite had safely reached the other side, the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen." Moses obeyed. As the morning light dawned, he stretched out his hand. The walls of water that had stood so miraculously collapsed. The sea returned to its full depth, crashing down upon the entire Egyptian army. Chariots, Horses, soldiers not one of them survived. The powerful force that had terrorized the Israelites for centuries was gone, swallowed by the sea. That morning, as the Israelites stood on the far shore, they saw the bodies of their former masters washed up on the sand. The threat was over. They were truly, finally, free. The fear they had felt just hours before was replaced with overwhelming awe and gratitude. They saw the great power the Lord had displayed against the Egyptians, and the people feared the Lord and put their trust in Him and in His servant Moses. This incredible event isn't just an ancient story. It's a powerful reminder that even when we feel trapped, with the sea in front of us and an army behind us, there is always hope. It teaches us that sometimes the greatest act of courage is to be still and trust that a way will be made, even when we can't see it. The story of the Red Sea crossing has inspired people for thousands of years, a symbol of liberation and divine intervention against impossible odds. It shows that faith can move more than mountains can part seas. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories from history and faith. Let us know in the comments what this story means to you. We'll see you in the next video.